Hello and welcome back to the Second Chance to Live channel here on YouTube. I'm happy to see that you decided to stop by to watch this video presentation. Thank you. In today's video presentation, I'm going to be sharing the sixth part of an article that I wrote several years ago. I create video presentations of my articles to empower individuals to learn better through watching and listening. To read the article, put my glass back on and bring up the article. I want to thank you for your time. You're an important part of my process, and I always enjoy our times together here on my YouTube channel and at Second Chance to Live at secondchancetolive.org. Here's the article, Living with a Traumatic Brain Injury and the Grieving Process, Acceptance, Part 6. Hello and welcome back to Second Chance to Live. I'm happy to see that you decided to stop by to visit with me. You're always welcome around my table. In part 6 of this series, the concept of resentments being the key to open the door to isolation and self-reproach will be explored. My resentments, in effect, held the key to the door of my isolation and my self-reproach. In my experience, I found that I needed to determine who I held resentments towards and why I sought to maintain those resentments towards those individuals, such as family, places, churches, significant relationships, institutions, employers, etc., so that I could come out of my isolation and be free of self-reproach. In my desire to be free of my resentments, I needed to make a list of the people that I resented. Next, I needed to ask myself a series of questions regarding the people that I resented. I needed to determine what I believe those individuals did to me, how my life as a result was affected, i.e. my self-esteem, my emotions, security, ambitions, as well as my personal and sex relationships. Next, I needed to explore how the situation that led to my resentments make me feel. I then needed to determine how I responded to the event or the events. Next, I needed to examine what was my part that led to my resentment, how I contributed to, participated in, to the situation that led to my resentment. Was I selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, frightened, inconsiderate, etc.? Lastly, I needed to examine why I did right, if anything, in the situation that led to my resentment. In my experience, I needed to examine specific time periods in my life in order to be able to identify my resentments. Specifically, I needed to examine how I related to family, friends, educational venues, churches, employers, and other significant relationships. Because I wanted to be free of the negative energy that my resentments created, I did an inventory of my resentments during specific times in my life. I examined as far back as I could remember until I was 6 years of age, then from 6 to 12, 12 to 18, 18 to 24, 24 to 30, 30 to 36, 36 to 42, and so on. Those periods of times in my life, how family members, friends, employers, institutions, educational settings, etc., the resentments that I held towards people during those time periods. Through my proactive participation in the above exercise, I was able to identify specific patterns of behavior that I used to relate both to other people and to myself during those periods. As I identified patterns in my behavior, I was able to address what was my part, what was not my part, and how I could be freed from the negative consequences of my resentments. As a byproduct, I was able to begin to recognize where other people ended and where I began. Consequently, I was able to establish a better relationship, better, healthier relationships with both other people and with myself. Through practical, rigorous honesty in my own recovery process, I was able to slowly stop participating in a dance that told me that I needed for another person to be okay with me before I could hope to be okay with myself. This is the end of part 6 of the video presentation series. I would encourage you to watch parts 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, in addition to watching part 6, as each of the parts build on the previous part. I will say so long for now, but before I do, let me say this and remind you, as I need to remember. Please do not give up on yourself, a loving God, or your process. More will be revealed to you and to me in time. The pieces of the puzzle will come together in the correct order and at the right time. I'll say so long for now. Have a great day, and God bless both you and your family. Bye now.